today we've got a battery kit from SFK Kits. Now this is their V4 Standard Kit. And it comes with the battery box, the cabling. I believe the cabling you have to cut and crimp yourself. And it comes with a 150 amp Bluetooth BMS. Excellent shipping as always from these guys. Let's open it up. Now the really awesome thing about this, before we open it up, these are more of a premium brand, and this one is really on the affordable level. So this kit with the BMS is around $300, and then you pair it with their REPT 280 amp hour cells, and you get like 4 of those for around $700. When you build this up, your 280 amp hour battery with Bluetooth will come in at around $1,000. I mean, that pretty much makes it maybe the best deal, considering, you know, you've got almost 3 of your normal 100 amp hour batteries in this one battery and this one case that's a lot smaller. You know, what would 3 of these things cost? Probably close to $900. This guy has a really good build quality, which I think would be comparable to the SFK Kits. I want to say this is $400. So 3 of these, we're talking $1,200, and this has the, you know, the Bluetooth as well. So this would be more in line with the SFK Kits. So 3 of these would cost more than this kit right here. Now, of course, you do have to build this. You can actually buy them pre-built from them as well for a little bit more, but you can save money by building it yourself. And it's fun. You have a project to do. If you don't have time, understand, not everybody has time. All right, here we go. Let's open her up. The lid has the terminal studs in there. And look, they've already got the BMS installed for me. How about that? So like they kind of already did some of the work for you. So let's pull this bracket out. All right, so this should lift out now. There you go. So look at that upper bracket, that's really neat. And look, this is their branded BMS. Laser etched SFK Kits on there. I believe these are made in the same factory that JBD BMSs are. The same software works with them, and SFK Kits has their own software app. Oh look, and it comes with an active balancer. That's really handy because whenever you build this pack, it's actually gonna balance for you. So here's our instruction manual. There's our sticker for the case. Here's cables. Looks like some are already pre-made. So I do see some cables that aren't pre-made. They even got their own branded cable. I didn't even know this. SFK Kits battery cable. So this is 6 gauge, 600 volt, 200C silicone wire. Now as far as crimping goes, you got 2 options. You get the mega cheap option. This is a little crimper that you put the terminal in here and you let that spring down and you put it on a hard surface and then you just bang it with a hammer. And it'll indent into it and it'll crimp it on. It actually works perfectly fine. I mean, these are like 10 bucks. Or if you can spare a little bit more money, I think this is less than $40. This is a sweet crimper. It's a hydraulic crimper and it has the dies, all the dies, sizes that you need. These just slide into the jaws and then you just pump it up and it crimps it very solid. If you're gonna do a little bit of crimping, this is fine. If you're gonna be wiring a system, I would do this. Let's grab the cells and start putting this thing together. All right, we got our cells. Let's get building. So the first thing that you wanna do is you wanna make sure you have your box in front of you in the correct orientation. There are 4 holes on the right side and there are 3 holes on the left side. And that matters because everything needs to go in the correct order or stuff's gonna be backwards, and you'll only find that out probably after it's mostly built. So we're going to put in the first 2 cells, and on the left side we want the positive terminal to be closest to you, and then on the right side we want the positive terminal to be the furthest away from you. Cells that are going to go in here, we're going to put shims on, and these are the 1 millimeter shims. So these are spacers in between the cells. That gives the cells some more insulation between each other, and it also kind of gives it a little bit of a compression. So the next battery I put in, I'm going to put a shim on both sides. That way it has a shim facing this first battery, and then it has a shim facing the next battery that's going to come in. They want you to put the rough side towards the battery cell and the smooth side facing out. And we're going to use Kapton tape to secure the shims to the cell. I'll give you links in the descriptions where you can find most of the stuff. You may actually want to do a better job of putting this tape on than I did. I did it all nice and wrinkly. Let's try to do a better one here. There we go. That's much better. And I'm going to put a shim on the other side. All right. So now let's get that cell in the box. Pay attention to the terminals, because you got your positive here. Now this one's going to have to go the opposite direction. And the positive is going to have to be down here. So positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. Okay? All right, so now this last cell is only going to get 1 shim, of course, because we've already got a shim here. And then since there was a shim taped on the other side of this battery, there's a shim here. The 1 shim on this cell is going to go on the side that faces this cell. That way every cell has a shim in between them. So this one is going to go in like so, with the positive up here. So that means that we need the shim to go on the label side here. And bam, we have shimmed. All right, so this one's going to be usually the tough one to get in. All right, so what they suggest that you do is you kind of put your fist in there and squeeze out like that to give you some space. It actually feels like we are going to have some pretty good space. Oh, I didn't even need to do it. So that was pretty easy. Okay, these, that just slid right in. Okay, that's a lot easier actually, because the one I did before had heaters in it, and I think they were a little thicker. I actually feel like I want to put either a thicker shim, maybe go ahead and put some on the sides here, because I want it to be maybe a little tighter, because it is in there a little loose. So let's do this. I got one of these, but this kit didn't come with it, but I had this from a previous kit to pull these cells back out. I feel like a 1.5 millimeter. Let's try that. Yeah, that feels good. Instead of the 1 millimeters, do the 1.5 millimeters on this kit. I feel like maybe the 1 millimeters is better for if you have the heaters, and these 1.5s are better if you don't have the heaters. These have these little spacers. The one with 3 holes goes over there, and the one with the 4 holes goes over here. So make sure we got positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. And then this part that we took off initially, we're going to have to separate the 2 pieces. We're going to take this BMS board part off, and because this has to go down on first. And then I think we do have to take this piece off as well. All right. And so if you look at this, there's 4 holes here. And there's 4 holes here. There's also a plus sign here and a negative sign here. So if you've done everything proper thus far, it should go into place like so. And the plus sign is near your positive here, and the negative sign is near your negative here, and the holes line up here. And so we need to put these screws in. All right, so let's bolt this plate down. And then the bus bars should have came with your cells. They're gonna go here, here, and there. And you're gonna need to crimp the terminals onto your BMS balance leads. So you'll need a red, a blue, yellow, a green, and a black. And they want you to crimp those wires on to the active balancer wires as well. So they're going to crimp in the same location. We probably want to strip back some more of this wire and then do the same thing on the active balancer wires. And we'll start with the red terminal. This will be the most positive, and we'll find the red wire on our BMS cable, which will be here. And then we'll find our red wire on our active balancer cable. We're going to put them both into this terminal like so, and then crimp it down. Give it a tug. Make certain that is a good connection. Bad connection here is going to make your battery fail. Okay, next we're going to take the first white wire next to the red wire that we just did on the BMS cable, and then we're going to find the white wire on the active balancer. We're going to put those two cables together and insert those into the blue terminal. Crimp those down. We're going to find the next white wire. Make sure you get these correct in order. So red, white, and then now this middle white wire on the BMS cable. And then we're going to find the yellow wire on the active balancer cable. We're going to put those together, put on the yellow terminal. Then we will find the green wire on the active balancer and the very last white wire on the BMS cable, and those will go into the green terminal. Very good. And lastly, we get the black wire from the active balancer cable and the black wire from the BMS cable, and we crimp those down. All done on the cable there. So they want you to put down the red positive wire. The terminal with the smaller hole will go on to the battery, and then the blue negative wire, this is the wire that's going to go to the BMS. They want you to put down like so. Oh, I forgot a step. We actually need to clean these terminals with alcohol. We want to make sure there's no residue or dirt or anything on these terminals. Bus bars included, and that's just 91% isopropyl. Our wiring harness, the BMS and the active balancer wiring harness, the red terminal will go down here. We'll follow that with a nut. Just snug that up. We'll torque those later. The blue terminal wire goes down next. The yellow will go here. The green will go here. And then lastly, the black will go here. All right, I'm going to torque these down to slightly over 4 Newton meters. All right, that should be good. All right, so they want you to route the BMS wires and active balancer wires down the battery like this. So on the negative side. So we'll get a couple of zip ties to tidy it up. Now, so I got this end started first, and then we'll just work our way back and kind of bound these wires up as much as we can. All right, that should do the trick. That looks about like how they have it here. Now they want you to use the your multimeter to check the voltages on these BMS and active balancer wires to make sure that everything's in the proper order. So we'll take the most negative, and we should get 3.2 volts, and then 6.5, 9.8, and then 13. So you should be going up by 3.2 volts every step you go up. So you keep your negative lead there and just check your positive. You should be going up by 3.2 volts each time. So that's right. Let's check the BMS. The BMS will start at the most negative pin, and the one next to it, we got 3.2, we got 3.5, we got 9.8, and then we got 13.1. So perfect. Okay, next up we're going to put this bracket on, and it has the active balancer down here, so we'll plug that in as we're putting it on. You probably want to verify that you see the light underneath there. Alrighty, we'll put our BMS board on. Alright, we need to connect the BMS wires. All right, now we should be able to hook up our BMS balance wires, and this should turn the BMS on. I saw a little blue LED there flashing. Let's see if we can find it on the Bluetooth app. I think it's right here, SFK 150 version 2. Yep, so we're gonna do 280 amp hour capacity, and there it is. Yeah, so it's working just fine. They also have their own app, their SFK app. And there it is. We're going to set the low voltage cutoff down to 10 volts. That way when we do a capacity test, we'll make sure we're able to get the full capacity out of this battery. Alright, so we're on the home stretch here, guys. I think all we really need to do at this point is put on the negative lead to the BMS, and then put the lid on. I really want to put some tape. I think I'm going to put a piece of tape over this to make sure that we don't short anything in this step. That way it cannot short to this guy when we put it on. We'll put the Bluetooth dongle over here. That should work. And then we should probably go ahead and tape these thermal sensors down onto top of the battery. All right, just need to put the lid on. Negative on this side. That's why the negative is already kind of, they cut this wire and crimped it to where it would actually land right where it needs to be. And just be super cautious with this. Might be a good idea to go ahead and disconnect the balance leads from the BMS. This should shut it off. So it should have disconnected this output. So in case we do short this should be not active. But let's just be incredibly careful to not let this touch anything. And make sure that the screwdriver doesn't touch any of this metal. You gotta be very careful. This is a very tight section here. Oh, make sure to plug in the BMS wires. All right, we should be good to go. Lid's on. Put your lid screws back in. All right, so now if you were using this battery in an environment where you were concerned about moisture, like a marine or outdoor or something like that, they tell you how to seal it up. You can use this sealant that they suggest. Okay, now we just need to put the sticker on and the handles. All right, let's add the sticker. And then these are their new handles, actually. These are really nice. They're much more ergonomic to the shape of your hand. And there we have it, guys, the completed battery. I really do like those new handles. All right, so I got this battery charging up. When it completes, we're gonna do a capacity test. So we got the battery fully charged. We've got the shunt hooked up, an inverter, and we've got the air conditioner plugged in for a load. So we're gonna do a capacity test. We're also going to use the SFK Kit's BMS app. It has a capacity discharge test built in. So we're gonna run that alongside. So it's gonna be a little bit different because I'm not gonna record it with like I usually do with this shunt, because I usually record it with my tablet, and my tablet's going to be running their test. Let's begin their discharge test. Okay, it says it started. Let's go ahead and turn on the inverter. We got the AC coming on. All right, so we're pulling 800, almost 900 watts, about 900 watts now. We're seeing about the same thing on their app. So we're gonna let that run, and I'll be back when it completes. Oh yeah, we're about to hit full capacity on this guy. There it is, we did. We hit 280 amp hours, complete full capacity on this shunt right here. And also on the app, we have 281.47 amp hours here, 3,644 watt hours. So yeah, we have passed the capacity test. I'll let it keep going to see how far we get. All right, so the inverter's griping. We're still at 10.9 volts, 295.81 amp hours here. I think the inverter's about to shut off because it's seeing almost about 10 volts. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably kill the, actually, I'm just gonna let it keep going. There it goes. All right, guys, we got 297.01 amp hours on this guy, 3,817 watt hours. If the inverter didn't shut off, I think it would have went even a little further. And then on the SFK Kit's app, we came up with 298.07 amp hours, 3,837.09 watt hours. Fantastic. Really just shy of 300 amp hours. Those are some solid cells in there, guys. This is just an awesome battery. If you've got the time and the desire to build it, you can save a ton of money and get an awesome battery in a very small form factor, like probably the most dense form factor you're gonna get. I just looked on their website. I kind of totally suspected this was gonna come in under $1,000, but here it is basically right there, and it's as low as $959. You got the capacity of nearly 3 of these batteries in this size. Look at that, it's not much difference, guys. 3 of these batteries is gonna cost you $1,200. This battery right here would be what I would consider to be more on par with the quality of this battery. This has the Bluetooth and all that kind of stuff. All right, guys, so I think that's gonna be the end of the video. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell me your thoughts. That actually helps us out on YouTube a whole lot. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.